Hello, Four Star Nation, and welcome to the 2021 NCAA Tournament Preview Show. We got everybody in house tonight, or today, I should say. Raymond Kettis over there, Christian Johnston, Aaron Smith, Brandon Bumgardner. I am Wes Pruitt. This has been an exciting season of college basketball, all culminating down to today. The bracket reveal will begin in roughly a half hour, give or take. Right now, we've got some great basketball games going on. Illinois is currently up 2 on Ohio State. Houston was just slaughtering Cincinnati as of earlier. I think the game was a 20-point game earlier. But when you look at this NCAA tournament, Ray, what is an intriguing story that nobody's really talking about, in your opinion? What about you, Aaron?
Well, hold on, I have to look. Did Alabama win today?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes, Alabama won today.
Yeah. So it's my understanding that we'll need or Alabama will need Ohio State to beat Illinois. My interesting story is the potential that Alabama could be a number 1 seed. That's kind of like where I'm going with, but even a number 2 seed because they're not historically, at least to my knowledge, a big time basketball school. So this is big for them, and so right now they're on my spotlight. Also, another thing in the SEC tournament that I want to talk about is LSU is like lights out, killing it right now. Like yes, they lost to Alabama, but and I know I'm a Hog fan, but that was a good Arkansas team they beat. I mean, that was some big time defense that they did. So that was good for the SEC tournament. Another thing that I have a question about too is Oklahoma State. Are they even allowed to make it in or not? So, but we can move on from that. But the most exciting thing for me is Alabama. So I probably still Rays.
Bingo.
Yeah, when you look at Alabama, when you look at Alabama, obviously they did it in football this year. Now they've done it in basketball. That's something that I don't think has happened in a very long time. But, another interesting story is Rick Pitino is back in the NCAA tournament again with Iona. Very, very cool story. I've always liked Rick Pitino. Did he make some mistakes while he was at Louisville? I'm sure he did. But he is now back, coached Iona. They won the MAAC championship. So now Rick Pitino is heading back to the NCAA tournament. That's a very cool story. Along with, I found out an interesting stat last night. Yesterday, when Georgetown beat Creighton, that Big East game Ray was talking about yesterday on the show, when Georgetown pulled the shock and took an automatic bid from somebody, that was 38 years to the day that they hired John Thompson as the head coach at Georgetown. So I found that stat to be very cool. Kind of came full circle for Georgetown and Patrick Ewing. And I guarantee you, everybody in Madison Square Garden knows who Patrick Ewing is now. But Ray, let's go down to you real quick, man. What is a interesting storyline from this bracket, tournament bracket, that you're looking forward to see being revealed tonight?
Well, it's March, ain't it? So March is a month for Cinderellas. It's a month for everyone vying for position. And with the year off of the NCAA tournament because of COVID-19, this was well deserved. And we're looking for, I hope there will be a good bracket, and so that this NCAA tournament will be the best in a long time. It has the making for that.
Yeah, I believe so too. I definitely believe so. Go ahead, Christian.
The interesting thing about this year's bracket is typically you have Duke, Kentucky in there, and those are two teams that even though you may not like them, you want to see them in there because it's fun to root against those teams. But they're not in there this year, so it's definitely a different year. So it's like, who's the star of this tournament? Normally every year you have a high profile name that is the star of the tournament, like a Coach K, a Coach Calipari. These great players that are usually on those teams, but this year you don't really have that. It's like, you got Cade Cunningham, but that's really it as far as high profile players. It's kind of an exciting feel to it this year. It does feel like it's kind of wide open this year, more so than other years. You got Gonzaga, who's undefeated, but in my mind, they're still sort of an unproven program. They've racked up a lot of wins, and they've gotten to the championship a time or two, but were unable to win. So is this the year Gonzaga finally gets over that hump? Or is it a team that, like an Arkansas, like an Oklahoma State, like a Illinois, one of those teams, is it their year to kind of make a run? So it's definitely interesting. And I'm trying to think in my head, there's always upsets in round one. And that'll be fun to see,
Right.
that'll be fun to see who matches up with who in the first round, at least.
Let me ask you this. The last tournament we had, which was 2 years ago, didn't a 16 seed beat a 1 seed in that tournament, correct?
Yep,
Yes,
they did.
I believe so.
Do we think,
UMBC.
Oh, Baltimore.
That's not-
Community
that's
College.
not-
do we
The
think that could
University of
happen
Baltimore
again?
at Maryland County beat
Yeah.
Virginia.
No, Virginia's the reigning national champion.
Yeah, so that was the year
Oh.
before. That was the year before, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Virginia
That
won
was
it.
Yeah, that was the year before, yeah.
Yeah, 28.
So it's very interesting. I think when you go back and look at the bracket, like you mentioned, Christian, Gonzaga is probably quote unquote the best team in the country. I don't know that they've been challenged.
Right.
When you go back and look at their conference championship, that was probably the most challenging game they faced all season. But you got to give it to Mark Few. This will make 21 consecutive NCAA appearances
That's crazy.
for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. That's crazy. That is a lot.
I
That
will
is a
say this
personal
about
record.
Gonzaga.
Love Mark Few.
Gonzaga is a really good team. There's no doubt about that. They've played some good teams this year out of conference, and they've beaten a few. And they were supposed to play Baylor, but I think COVID got in the way with that one.
Yeah.
I think Gonzaga is a really good team, and they've got a lot of good players that, that's why they're so good. It's not a fluke that they're that good, but there's also some teams out there that,
I don't think it is at all.
but they still got to prove that they can get.
When you look at it right now, I'm actually looking at the bracketology as we speak. Currently, they have the first four being Colorado State, Oklahoma, Wichita State, Syracuse, Mount St. Mary's, Norfolk State, and App State, Texas State. So they're definitely leaning towards some teams that I didn't really expect to be there. But when you look at these number one seeds, of course, you're looking at Gonzaga. That's probably going to be a number one. Baylor, I guess they could put Baylor as a number one. Who do you think should be the number ones, Brandon?
Right now, my number ones are going to be Gonzaga, of course, just because they're undefeated. I'd throw Illinois up there. Depending on are they winning or they're losing right now?
They're up 72-69 right now.
Illinois is
minutes
currently
left.
up by 3.
If
Yeah.
they win the game, Illinois, I don't believe Baylor is as good as they are advertised. I think Alabama should be up there instead of Baylor as the number one seed, and I think Michigan should actually still be there. Juwan Howard, He's a heck of a basketball coach. I really think that Michigan should be up there as well, even though they lost. I just don't think Baylor is as good as advertised. I think Oklahoma State showed that. Baylor had control of the game most of the game, and they just let it go. That's how they play basketball. That's how they play it all year. And most of their games can't come down to the wire. They just pull away late. And that's the difference between a great team and a good team now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, right now it would be Gonzaga, Alabama, Michigan, and Iowa. Or not Iowa, Illinois.
Okay.
Another thing about Michigan
Yeah,
is I think
Brandon.
they lost a player to it. I think Livers, one of their good players, is hurt. So that'll be interesting to see if they can get, to that second or third round without him possibly. But yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, when you talk about Alabama, and I mentioned this yesterday on the show that I felt like Alabama was possibly playing for a number 1 seed in the tournament, and I thought that Arkansas was possibly playing for a number 2. Now, that was all contingent on Arkansas beating LSU yesterday and then obviously winning the SEC tournament with a win over Alabama. That didn't happen. I think Arkansas will still be a 3 seed, but I think that if you look at Alabama's resume, you look at their body of work, and you look at just how they've played this year and the job that Nate Oates has done. Chuck Joyner, thank you for watching on Facebook. Stardom, thank you for watching. Thank you for everybody watching Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We each have we have all 3 going right now on our streams. So thank you very much for that. Chuck said Alabama a number 1 seed really, and did a little face palm. I think Alabama, Chuck, just to comment on that, Chuck, I think Alabama has played their way into a 1 seed. When you look at Kansas currently being out with COVID, when you look at other teams right now being out with COVID, this COVID is going to take an effect on this tournament. What happens if Gonzaga, not that I'm saying I want it to happen, what happens if Gonzaga comes up with 3 or 4 positive cases or other teams? So you got to kind of shuffle around and move things around. But yeah, I think Alabama is good enough to be a number 1 seed.
Sorry, you'd have to start picking and choosing teams that are in the NIT at that point.
Right. Very true. Very true. Very true. We're looking at about a minute left to go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Wes. What'll happen is.
Oh no, I'm just saying we're looking at about a minute left to go in this Ohio State Indiana game or Illinois game. Currently, Illinois is up by 1 point with 56 seconds left in the game. Go ahead, Bum.
Yeah, so what'll happen is the committee's going to have to bump up seeding. So the teams that other teams are going to expect to play probably won't play. So that's going to make out interesting for the tournament as far as matchups and everything. So say Gonzaga did get it hypothetically like you were talking about, and Alabama did get a 1 seed. Alabama would move to a 1 seed, and the next lowest seed would move up. So that'd be the highest 2 seed would move up to a 1 seed, and so on and so forth. So then you get an NIT team in there, hypothetically, because I'm a Memphis fan, Memphis, or Ole Miss, somebody like that. I think that would be the way that has to pan out to make it fair for every team in the tournament. There's going to be a lot of logistics going on with this, and it's going to be really, really fun to watch, and it could also be a complete train wreck. So we don't really know at this point. All I know is the NCAA put out a statement, and it said if you had 5 players that were healthy, you could be eligible to play. So, but I don't know if schools are going to put kids through that, it's kind of tough to put a college athlete out there and say, hey, you're going to play 40 minutes of basketball, and they're going to be tired. There's always chance of injury, everything like that. And the NCAA says they care about their student athletes, but that's beyond me. Sorry, that's my little rant for that.
Oh, you're good, man. Raymond, when you look at this NCAA tournament, give me a team. And of course, the bracket hasn't been revealed yet. We will be revealing it live along with CBS Sports here in roughly 20 minutes. In about 15 15, we're going to jump off this stream and jump over to our other stream with our bracket challenge going on, with our bracket reveal going on. But Ray, just before we get started on this bracket reveal for 2021, give me a team or teams that are not in that top 4 range, that are a team that you feel like we need to look out for in this tournament.
I would take a good look at Oklahoma State. If the NCAA does not rule on their appeal, they're in the tournament.
Right.
And Oklahoma State is a force to be reckoned with. I would also, with the lower seeds, I would take a good. I would strongly recommend caution to Drexel as a possibility. But it has happened before with a 15 beat a 2, but that has not. That comes very rarely. And if that happens, that makes a tournament for me. If a 15 beats a 2, or a 14 beats a 3 seed,
yeah.
Just that instance of itself makes a tournament the way it is.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron? Give me a couple of teams that you think we need to look out for this season or this tournament, I should say.
Okay. I would have to say we'll have an angry Arkansas team in there, so look out for them. But also I would have to I have to say look out for Illinois too. Like I'm just going upper seeds right now, but I'm feeling like Arkansas and Illinois are going to be 2 teams that are going to be hungry, and they're going to dominate this tournament.
All right, Christian, what about you, man?
Yeah, also obviously Arkansas, I think they could make a run, but I'm not going to talk much about that because y'all know I'm an Arkansas fan and I'm always going to believe in them. But also, but you got a team in LSU. I don't like LSU. I mean, but I see how good they are, and they've had question marks on their defense, and we saw in the SEC tournament that they can turn up the defense if they can't need to. So I think LSU is poised to make a run. I know there's controversy with Will Wade and all that, but he's there and they're in the tournament. So, they're a good team who can score with anybody. And then I think this isn't really a surprise, but I think the way that they're like built, they can make a run with Luka Garza, and they've got some other playmakers as well. So, as far as there's 3 teams right there for me that probably aren't too high on everybody's list, but they all 3 have the ability to win it or go very far in this tournament. I think people don't realize how good LSU is. I don't think people realize it. So I'm going to leave it at that. And
yeah,
then obviously Oklahoma State, with Cade Cunningham, he can take over a game. I don't know how many, he's going to need help though. He can't, I don't think he can carry them the whole tournament, but he's one of those players that can take over late in game situations. So
yeah, that Texas Oklahoma State game was so exciting to watch.
And now that you say Texas, they could go far in this tournament. So, it's wide open, man.
So I was talking to Ray.
I think we go back.
Sorry. So I was talking to Ray yesterday.
Oh, you good?
And we were talking about I was talking about, in my opinion, this is like the most exciting SEC tournament we've seen in a while, because it was always like Kentucky and everyone's just fighting for a second, But this time it was just like Tennessee could give Alabama a hard time, and then LSU could turn around and beat Arkansas, and then all of a sudden your SEC championship game is Alabama only beating LSU by 1 point. Like, it was very exciting, and I feel like the March Madness can be the exact same thing. The big dance could be like like Drexel could beat someone over here, and then Gonzaga could lose to another team over there. Like, I mean, it could just go all over the place, and I'm so excited for it.
I know we don't know the bracket yet, but who do y'all think has out of the top seeds? Who do y'all think has the best chance of getting upset in the first round? You know,
Gonzaga.
This is gonna sound weird, but Gonzaga.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on them. There's something about them that I just don't think they've been tested. And here's the thing: when you get into the NCAA tournament, it's just one game. It's not a 3-game series. You know, it's one game. And if you just happen to be off and the other team happens to be on, it can not go your way very quickly.
It doesn't have to be a 1
I'm very
seed either,
intrigued
like 2 seed or a 3 seed.
Right. Yeah. I think that depending on how it all plays out, I think a team like a Michigan needs to look out. I think a team like a Kansas, since we don't know what's going on with them and COVID, that's a team that needs to look out. I'll be honest that I think could make a little. Go ahead.
I'll be honest. You know, as for my teams, I think Arkansas. You know, they have a really good team, but they also can go cold. I've seen so. You know, they've got to come out ready. I mean, I'm an Arkansas fan. I'm a realist. I know how these tournaments work. If you don't show up to play, you can get beat even in that first round. So Arkansas's got to show up, and I think Alabama as well. You know, I can see an Alabama getting knocked off. You know, I know they're a really good team, but you know, it's just people are going to be shooting for these higher seeds to beat them. And
earmuffs, Ray, earmuffs.
Yeah,
you don't need to be listening to this, Ray.
I'm just zoning out right now.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, when you look at a team like an Alabama, speaking of Arkansas, that's a team that I think this tournament needs to look out for, because if they can continue to play defensively like they have been, of course they got beat by LSU. I understand that, but that's probably the best thing that could have happened to Arkansas versus Arkansas winning the championship and then getting to that first round and having too much of a big head or whatever you want to call it. I think that them losing in this conference tournament the way they did motivates them more for this NCAA tournament. I think Arkansas at a 3 seed is a very dangerous seed for them. I think they can, depending on what kind of draw they get, it can be very interesting to see where they go. That's the thing with the NCAA tournament is, and we'll go over it all tonight, but these draws that some of these key teams get are going to be very interesting.
Interesting fact about Arkansas.
Give me a team.
The 94-95 team, the 94-95 team lost in the conference tournament to Kentucky and ended up winning the championship as a 3 seed, winning the NCAA tournament as a 3 seed. So you don't have to be a 1 seed or 2 seed to win it.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I don't remember the last time.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was like, I don't even remember the last time I've seen 4 1 seeds in the Final Four.
Yeah, it don't happen.
It's been some years. It's been some years.
2008.
2008. Okay.
Brandon, when you look at this NCAA tournament that's getting ready to get cranked up, let me take this call real quick and do your thing, Brandon.
Are you asking me?
I don't think he got the question out, but we can kind of.
Asking me?
He didn't get the question out, but just talk about anything you want, like the Memphis game or something. I don't know.
Or talk about like the tournament.
I prefer not to talk about the Memphis game, but this Illinois-Ohio State game's getting chippy. 39 seconds left in overtime, and Ohio State's up 1.
Whew.
Oh boy.
Yeah. No. So y'all were talking about sleeper teams and everything. So I got 2. Georgia Tech. Josh Pastner's got that team playing great basketball. and Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago, something about them. They just make a run. They made the Final Four a couple years ago. I think they can do it again this year. Those two teams are the ones that I'm really looking at. But yeah, there's a minute and 39 seconds left in this game. Ohio State's up 1. So,
Wow.
Yeah,
That's another
it's a good game
dangerous
right
team.
now.
Ohio State's a really dangerous team too. I think
Mhm.
they're
Oh,
just
yeah.
getting overshadowed by Illinois a little bit, but hey, they're about to beat them. It looks like.
Well, it's close. I think Illinois just got fouled. They might be shooting free throws, but
That's been a long 50 seconds, man.
Yes.
Indeed.
But you know, I will. It's interesting to see if Kansas, how they'll be. I don't know. They might be missing a few players or something in that first round, but that would be bad if they got robbed of a bid or something because of COVID.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so I have a question, y'all. So so we know Duke and Kentucky are out. What do we know about North Carolina?
They're in.
So, but they're going to be like a 7 or an 8 seed, right? Or somewhere like in the middle there, or where?
Yeah, but that's another team I think can make a run though.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina, even as a 7 or 8 seed, I think North Carolina could, you know, with Roy Williams as your coach, who's been there and done that. That's a team. As an Arkansas fan, I would not want to play North Carolina.
Yeah. Oh,
We've lost to them. We've lost to them
No,
way too
I
many
wouldn't
times.
either.
We've
yeah.
lost to them way too many times in the tournament.
Yeah, there's like 2
I swear,
times.
I think we've lost to them 3 times in my lifetime,
Mhm.
or at least twice in the NCAA tournament.
So, Ray and I were also talking
Well,
yesterday.
guys,
So I was
right
talking
now we've
about-
got some
oh,
very exciting games going on right now. We're in overtime in the Big Ten Championship, in case y'all didn't realize that. Currently, Ohio State is up by 1 on Illinois. It's about a minute and a half to go left in that game.
How's that going to work if that
John
game's
Kirby
still
said
going on
Virginia
during
Tech is
the
on
if that game's still going on during the selection
bracket
show?
oh
the
my
bracket
goodness.
reveal. Well, the bracket reveal will actually start right after this game is over with.
Okay.
yes, it will. And I'm probably going to be walking around with my dog, so y'all are going to have to tell me who's going where.
Oh, you're good, man. I'm actually gonna share it on the screen, Brandon. We're actually gonna
Okay.
jump off this stream here in just a few minutes, and then we'll jump on a different stream, and I'm actually gonna share the screen for everyone to watch as we are watching it as well.
Oh,
But
Memphis.
John said Virginia Tech is on upset alert if they're
Memphis, come
in.
here.
I don't know that Virginia Tech is in the tournament. I don't know that they've played their way in. But I am very excited about this NCAA tournament the reveal show coming up here in the next few
Down.
minutes. Once again, thank you for everyone watching Facebook, YouTube, Twitch,
Ma'am.
Twitter,
Yes, ma'am.
Instagram,
Hitch on the
everything
left.
that we're on. Thank you very much. We are going to actually jump off here and jump over to our other stream for the show. Also, once again, guys, if you're watching on Facebook, the next stream that we do, I believe it will be 99 cents to enter, and it'll be just that'll be just for the first hour of the show. So we're hoping we get a lot of fans on Facebook. Hopefully, we can get some revenue built up for this show to make this show the best it can be for you guys, the fans. Also, Dave White just said, just curious where y'all think VCU will be after their loss today. Very interesting, Dave. I honestly don't know. To be honest with you, David, I don't want to answer that question the wrong way, but we will all find out here shortly in just a few short minutes. 47 seconds left to go in that overtime game, but just want to jump off here real quick. Just want to get on here and give a little quick preview of the tournament, but the tournament reveal show will begin in roughly 10 minutes. Be sure to be back on. We at the 4-Star Sports Show will bring you in-depth coverage of this NCAA tournament. Christian, Aaron, Ray, Brandon, thank you very much for being on with me. 4-Star Nation, we will be back shortly.